Good evening, everyone. The time and day is Monday, April 7th, 6:04 p.m. I'm calling to order the Bike Walk Commission meeting. In attendance today, we have Greg Pacelli, Tanner Thompson, Nicholas Pappas, Christine Bisegli, and Dilene Bird. And we are also welcoming a guest speaker tonight, Senator Bob Duff, who I see has also just joined. We have an exciting agenda tonight with updates on events and education and new proposals, and we're honored to be joined tonight by the senator. I see we have a lot of people in attendance. Typically, we have um, a, a public participation at the start of our call, but to honor Senator Bob Duff's time, I've asked that he can precede our agenda. So Bob, without further ado, I'd like to, welcome you to the Bike Walk Commission tonight.
Hey, thanks, Emily. How are you? And good evening, everyone. Glad to be here. And thanks for having me on first. And it's funny, I lost track of time. I just got done with the meeting. I just changed it to more casual fare because I got to go walk the dogs. And I'm like, I should have done it afterwards. I looked a little bit better before. Um, but anyway, it's good to be here and see everybody and talk about a little bit about what we're up to right now in the legislature. And happy to answer any questions. I think that's the bulk of my time I want to do is maybe answer some questions or take some notes. If I don't have the answers, I can get back to folks about it. But I'll just say this, right now the legislature is kind of halfway through. We finish up on June the 4th. Our big concern right now is our state budget. Um, Kind of minus what's happening in Washington, D.C., Connecticut would be in a very, very strong financial position right now with surpluses and paying down pension debt and rainy day funds that's filled up and kind of looking for ways to make sure that we're providing good services to the people of the state of Connecticut. But right now we're a little bit on the defensive because we're just really not sure what's happening to us here. And just for example, last November we had a big press conference about the Raise Grant on Martins King Boulevard, and not sure of the status of that and what's going to happen there. And that would be a huge loss to the city if we lost that $14 million. So I know that Jim Travers and others worked very, very hard on getting that to us and our federal delegation as well. So we're just really, really concerned about that right now. On other issues like that are more probably relevant to this group, pleased to announce that I was able to help get a grant for the Nog River Valley Trail, $1.5 million, I believe it was, to kind of finish that piece in Norwalk, which is really important. So that has been put on the Connecticut bond agenda for this Friday. So that's going to be done, and that should pass. Years ago, working with Livingston and others, got money for the Harbor Loop Trail. That is really important. I've been a big fan of that for many years, and I know that the city is working on finally getting that done. It's just taken too long because I think trying to negotiate with the private property owners. But at the end of the day, I think it'll be a very, very important project for the city. The other part is in housing, and we had a big conversation. Myself, Representative Johnson, Representative Dathan, and Representative Roberts had a conversation at St. Jerome's Church with a group called Connect, which is Congregations of Connecticut Uniting. They kind of bring mosques and congregations and temples and others to bring about issues of change. The big conversation there last week was on housing and working on how do we bring more housing into our communities. As we know, we have we're 300,000 units short of where we need to be. We have a lot of folks who want to move into the state. We have folks who just graduated college, like my son, who it's just too expensive to rent a place, even though he's got a really good first job. We've got senior citizens who would like to move into better housing. They would downsize if they could. And we've got families who need a good, safe place to live. And we also have a homeless population that we need to make sure we have wraparound services for and a good, safe place for them to live as well. So there's a big need there in trying to figure out how to get all that done, even though we're making historic investments in housing as well. And also try and do it in a way that makes sense, a good, smart kind of way of promoting housing and, around our train stations, around ways in which people can walk. And, again, pleased that last year, thanks to Jim Travers, who gave me the plan, bringing back some funding for new sidewalks, one especially over by Cranberry Elementary School, because literally around the corner from Cranberry Elementary School is an area that's considered unsafe. So they have to send buses, and the kids literally could walk to the school from there if they had a safe way to walk. So I was able to get some money for that. And that should be going this year, but that'll help. And then trying to get some additional funding as well for more sidewalks, because it's interesting. I spoke to somebody the other day who was born and raised here, and we were just chatting it up. And he said, when the city first started talking about sidewalks and all these different things, I was kind of against it. I wasn't really thinking it was a good idea. I wasn't really sure about it. And he said, but then when I saw him going in and how great it was, then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, this is a pretty good idea. So it's those of us who know instinctively that these are good. Um, Sometimes it takes others a little while to catch up. But I would say that, when we announce sidewalks someplace, there's always the rumble of how come not my street? So there's quite a demand now, which is good. So that's a good thing, actually. And I think that the TMP department's doing a very good job of working with trying to put sidewalks in places and really have a strategy on sidewalks, not just do it here and there, but really actually have a strategy. And I keep telling people, like, going from the schools out, making sure the schools are safe for kids to get to is probably the best strategy we have. And when roads are being repaved, certainly to try and do that as well. So that's where we are. So it's a little bit the message I want to give folks is, I'm focused on Hartford and what we're doing there and the bills that we're passing, but at the same time, working to make sure that I'm helping to meet the needs down here in the district, so that we can go forward with some of the goals that we have as well, and some of the goals that you all have, because people talk about Norwalk in a very, very positive way. And that's not exactly how it was when I first started out in the legislature. People are very excited about this community. They're very excited about Norwalk in the city. Um, and they look at it as a model in a lot of ways. So we need to keep it that way. So I'll stop there.
Thank you so much, Bob. Yeah, that's very exciting. And welcome, Jim Travers and Julia Green. Thank you for joining as well. I wanted to also just add, you've done a lot of great work, not only to the initiatives you were just talking about, but also the roundabouts going in with the school
Thank you.
at and CT State, excuse me, as well as other sidewalk projects that you've been working closely with TMP on. So thank you for all your hard work and joining us tonight. I wanted to definitely open the floor to questions from commissioners for Bob Duff to start, and as well as Jim, Julia, Greg, anyone with a question for Senator Duff. Tanner, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. And thanks for joining, Senator. I know I've mentioned this to you a couple different times. You know that I'm a proponent of the bill, mostly known as Work Live Ride. It's come up a few times in previous sessions. It seems to be advancing again this session. It's still in the House, but if it comes to the Senate, will you support it? And if your head is still not fully decided on that, how are you thinking about it right now? What are you weighing there?
Well, I haven't, like I said to you, probably like 3 or 4 times already. The bill, I think, has a good chance this year. It depends on really when the House sends it up to the Senate, because if it comes up too late, that means that we can't do other bills. So it's all a matter of timing. So the House has to send it up to us early enough to get it done, because a lot of these housing bills are not free of controversy. So and this bill has been significantly pared back, I think, from previous versions. I don't know all the details of it yet, because it is a House bill and I haven't looked at um, every section of the bill. But conceptually, I've supported the bill for many years. And I do think it's one that is it's a little bit easier for folks who may have been more reluctant to support it to support it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tanner. Any other commissioners with questions for Senator Duff?
Or on anything. It doesn't have to be transportation related, so whatever you want. I'm open to anything. I always just like to let people know, like, whatever you have a question about, because we don't always have this opportunity to talk, so I view it almost as office hours. So if you have a question on anything, I'll try to answer it. If I can answer it, I'll try to get you information.
Tanner, go ahead.
Yeah, I've got another one. Bob, this is something that I don't think I have brought up with you yet, maybe once a long time ago. But one thing that has stood out to me for a long time as I've tried to advocate for transit riders, which obviously have a lot of overlap with walking and biking, in that as soon as anybody gets off the bus, they become a pedestrian or a cyclist. By state law, the board of the Norwalk Transit District is capped at 2 members. Because of the way that transit districts were set up decades ago. And as a result, we have 2 board members from Norwalk, neither of which, to my knowledge, are regular transit riders. And so it means that at present, there's not room for an actual transit rider to be on the board to represent the interests of actual riders and the experience of riders. Is that something that you think that you could solve at the state level, perhaps by creating room for like a 3rd board seat?
Actually, it's a good question. I don't know enough about it I mean, certainly the appointing authority for the district could require people to be regular transit riders, I guess. Maybe you could make a bigger board. I don't know. So let's have a further conversation, but I just don't know enough about it to give you an answer.
Yeah, I'd be happy to chat with you about it.
Thanks, Tanner. Oh, Christine.
Oh, hi, Senator Duff. Thank you so
Hi.
much for being here, and thank you for your service. It's challenging time, so I'm just wanted to really say good luck, and I know that you will represent the town, the city with good faith like you always do.
I
And
appreciate that. Thank you.
of course, I always support you, and we appreciate you. Tanner mentioned the bus, and it always bothers me to see these hardworking folks standing out at the bus stops with no shelter in the rain, in the snow, in the cold, and they're outside of very wealthy establishments like Whole Foods and Stu Leonard's and the DMV. Not that they're wealthy, but I'm just you don't have to respond. It's just something, I'm sure it bothers you as well. It just seems very unequal to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that under the previous leadership of the transit district, there was a different policy on shelters. I do think it is something that TMP's been looking at also with the district as well, and trying to figure out how to really make it fair or make it better, because I do agree that having kids wait outside of school without any shelter, or have people who are waiting for a bus. I mean, how do we expect to increase public transportation if people got to stand out there in the rain or the cold and there's no shelter for them? So I agree, and I think there should be a plan to help get that in place so that we can get some shelters in there for folks. I just think in the past it's been an either or type thing, and it's not been a really well thought out kind of process.
Great question, Christine. Thank you, Senator Duff. I do have 2 questions for you. One of them is kind of a follow-up to what Christine is getting towards, which is exciting with our new Complete Streets ordinance. Is there an opportunity for our commission and TMP to work with your office to promote and spread awareness about this new Complete Streets program in Norwalk? Is that something you're already doing or would be open to doing more?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Whatever I can do to be supportive, absolutely. And that's why, and I work so closely with Jim on so many different things, because I believe in, like you said, the roundabouts, which I blanked out on because we did the one by CT State a couple of years ago. And to me, that's like, it's funded, so it's done. And then the one over by the school, it's funded, so it's done. And I'm on to other projects right now. So I think the ways in which I can be supportive is to try and help fund some of the things that actually make a difference. But if you need me to help to talk about the process and the ordinance, or just help people understand it better, No problem. Just, let's talk about how best to communicate that. But I think people are going to really see a big difference over the next 5, 10 years in the city of Norwalk, and it's going to be really transformed in such a positive way. Um, I know there's a lot of construction going on right now, a lot of things, but you think about how the Merit 7 train station is so much better. The East Norwalk train station is going to be so much better. And the South Norwalk train station is going to be so much better. And there's going to be a lot of new sidewalks. There's going to be some housing, on Wall Street and West Avenue and other places. Um, it's really we're going to see a big difference in new schools. We're going to see such a transformation in the city and with complete streets, I think it'll just kind of naturally blend to what we need to do. And thankfully, we do have like a TMP department that and we're not just kind of shooting from the hip. There's actually planning going on, and then that's how I can help with funding. Is that when I can only I can only fund things when I know something's ready to go. I can only advocate for those things. So having something that a plan of things that Jim and Greg and others work on is really helpful to me because then that helps me to advocate for things that the city needs. So, but happy to do whatever you need me to do.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Jim, I see you have your hand raised.
Hi everyone. So Emily, that's a really interesting idea, and I do think the senator could play a role in it, but I think we only have 15 cities in the state that have adopted complete streets legislation. I think we should have this conversation about maybe holding a symposium here in Norwalk with the other cities and towns and talk about idea sharing that come out of that. And then from out of that, I think if we have elected officials that come and speak to the various points of it, it gets attention, and when things get attention, they can do it. So if we can talk offline about that and how we could make something like that happen, and us host it, I think it could be a really great idea. Good call.
Thank you, Jim. That's a great, I'm writing that down. Perfect. Yeah, and Senator, if you would be open to being a part of that, that would be great for the symposium
Yeah.
too.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. I have, unless any other commissioners have a question for Senator Duff, I have one last personal question for you. Okay, my question for you is, I know and I'm so sorry, I'm spacing on your dog's name, but I've seen your dog all over social, who is adorable and probably in your office with you right now. What is your favorite street to walk your dog on in Norwalk?
My favorite. Well, I usually walk. It's funny. She took me on like this 3 mile walk yesterday, and I think it would have been longer if I let her. But I was finally like, all right, like 3 miles was enough. Um, but like she likes to go like the walks. I like to try to have her to lead me on because like her time. But I would say like I like East Rocks because there's hills and it's different and um yeah, I think East Rocks or Grumman kind of around there. Maybe because there's some sidewalks, and I think in Grumman, hopefully there's going to be better sidewalks soon. I'm just counting down the days until that project finally starts. So I would say, East Rocks, Grumman. She takes me down East Rocks all the way down to like Cannon Street and then Newtown. But Newtown is like walking on that street is like taking your life in your hands. Um, which is why we need more sidewalks down Newtown and down East Avenue, because you can't, from my house anyway, can't get from like my area to the beach, which is 5 miles, and feel like you're doing it safely. There's areas where you feel you can, but there's other places where you feel like you can't. So that's why we gotta keep pushing on complete streets and safe streets, and we gotta keep pushing on bike lanes and sidewalks and things like that. So but yeah, so Molly, she's pretty good. Wherever I take her, she'll go. She loves to walk. I gotta walk her right after this because we walked this morning and we got outside, it was raining and she turned right around. So little pit bulls, they seem tough, but they're really big babies because there are a couple drops on her and she turned right around.
Adorable. Okay, Molly, I won't forget that. Thank you so much, Senator
There's her own
Duff.
Facebook page, Molly A. Duff on Facebook.
Perfect. So I know we have some members of the public attending, and we don't have time to take questions from members of the public tonight, but if people wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Yeah.
You mentioned maybe having office hours?
Yeah, I just had officers on the green last week, and I'm sorry we don't have time for questions. I apologize for that, but if people want to get in touch with me, I'm really all over social media. I'm not really on X anymore, but I'm on Blue Sky, on Threads, on Instagram, Facebook. Obviously, you can send me a message there. You can go to my website and send me an email. Let's see, I could put it in is there a chat here, or somebody put it in the chat? You have my email, right? Emily, maybe you could put that in the
Yes,
chat or something.
I could, yep.
My .gov email. It's easy to
Mhm.
find. I answer my own emails, so people can respond, email to me. It's just right now, I just tell folks there's a lot of emails coming in, so just be a little patient on my response back. But that way, you can always call me at the office. So I'm pretty reachable, pretty easy to find, and trying to be as responsive as possible.
Thank you so much for your time, Senator.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator. Emily, I'm gonna have to jump off too. I have a 6:30 board other meeting that I have to make for budget.
That's right. Oh, it's that time of year. Thank you so much for your time tonight, Jim,
All right, thank
and for
you.
joining.
All right.
Okay. Next on our agenda here is public participation. So I see we have a few new members of the public joining us tonight. If anyone is interested in giving any public comment, please feel free to raise your hand now, and Darlene will unmute you so that you can give some public comment to our commission. I wonder, is it possible to play Jeopardy music for like a minute while we wait, or no? Okay. I'm not seeing anyone raising their hand, so I will move on to our next agenda item, which is the acceptance of the minutes. And I think, do we have a quorum to be able to approve the minutes? We are missing Becca and Manny still. So
And
I don't.
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't at the meeting.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Tanner. Okay, so can I entertain a motion to pass this, or can I move on to the next agenda item for now? I think I can just move forward. So I will move to old business, which I'm not sure if we have any old business to discuss unless there are any commissioners, or Greg, is this an item that you'd like to bring up?
It could say there's no other sub items under it, so it's just the standard form that it comes in.
Okay.
So we could just go right to new business.
Perfect. So our new business was brought to me by Commissioner Becca Stoll, who is not available tonight. And I would love her to speak to this, but I did write down what she had connected with me about. So I have a little note about this item here, which is a proposal for a kids bike swap. Common Council member Nora got in touch with her about a kids bike swap in Norwalk, and she thought it would be a good idea to tie it to an event that we may be hosting this year. There's already a lot of NPS involvement. So I would love to push that agenda item to next meeting so that Becca can talk more about that. But that was the note I got from her. If there are any other commissioners interested in helping or assisting her with that effort, I encourage you to reach out to Becca directly. Any questions? Okay, then I will move on to our discussion. First item in our discussion here is the budget spend from this year. So I'm hoping to pull up some items and quotes. I don't have the list in front of me. I don't know if Nick, would you happen to have that budget spend available, or updates on items there?
I don't have any updates on items, but if you're talking about the spreadsheet that we put together, I could pull that up.
That would be great. Thank you. If I can't get there first. Let me see. Okay. Would you be open to sharing your screen, Nick?
Zoom isn't showing me what my different tab windows are like, so I don't want to play a guessing game with the more
Okay, here, let me.
tabs that I'm willing to admit that I have open.
It's okay. Here, I got it. Just gotta do some rearranging on my end as well. Okay. So we have budget that we are looking to spend. We were able to submit d- um I can't remember offhand. I believe Becca had updates on Bike to Work Week, but she's not available, and I don't think we have anything to look at for this. Christine, I think I saw an email between you and Greg for getting this spent. So I think you're in the last steps here for this invoice. So you can work with Greg on that. And then on me for, I know I was assigned this one for the speaker event. Unfortunately, I still don't have an estimate to share for this. I know, Nick, were you in charge of the bike lights and helmets and pieces like that? Do we have any estimates that are ready to be approved today?
No, I haven't gotten to get any updates on that.
Okay. I guess the last piece here then would be the micro grant spending, and that's kind of the same. I did make contact with Alex from Smart Cycles, and so I will forward that to you, Nick, the email that I did get from him about locks and helmets. Helmets not only for kids, but for adults as well. I felt that that might make more sense, and so there's a range, but we're in conversation with him about getting invoices for these two things. The other good news, which, oh, Julia, you are here. I think everything went well with the LCI training in New Haven. Would you mind sharing a little about that?
Yeah, so I had a very long weekend in New Haven doing the LCI training on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I fortunately passed everything. So thank you. I want to say thank you to Christine because I did have to do prerequisites before doing the class. So I ran through all of the drills and did the classroom portion online, and Christine helped me. We did a road ride, and she was amazing and helped me so much during the class. And I just want to thank her because honestly, I don't know if I would have passed without doing that. So I learned so much, and I'm super excited to be LCI now, and hopefully we can get some things going. And I'm hoping to assist Emily with the class for CT State. I did get to meet Chaz Foster while I was there in person. So it was great. I learned a lot, and I'm super excited. So thank you guys.
That's excellent news. Great.
I
I'm
I
so
just
glad to
want
hear
to
that.
say, yeah, congratulations, Julia. That's a huge undertaking. It's hours that you spent and away from your family for the weekend. So congratulations. And now we have 2 LCIs in the city of Norwalk. So more
Thank you.
classes.
That is really great news. I'm very happy to hear that. And thank you, yeah, Julia, for all your time, and Christine for your time training. The training we did was excellent. Greg, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, so with the operating budget side of the spend for this fiscal year, have we all decided what the money will be spent on, and we're just waiting on quotes, or are we still looking to vote to buy items?
I think we're just waiting for quotes. So, and I know Julia's class, which I got a little sidetracked there, was part of this instructor spending from the grant. So we've spent that, but I know in order for us to apply for new grants, we are prioritizing spending the micro grant money. But in addition to allocating our budget spend, which I know we have to spend by June,
June 30th, yeah.
June
So that
30th.
means we have to order the things, the items, if whatever it is,
Mhm.
ahead of time, because we're not paying for anything until it actually gets to the city, so there's also lead time. So I'm just looking at if we need to bring these up to vote, we only really have one more month to decide on these items. So I get like for the taillights and the headlights, like that's something we can just get quotes for. But as far as like a speaker event, any other costs like the open streets event, all those costs have to be expensed by June 30th.
Okay.
I'm just trying to look ahead as far as in May, what's being presented as far as the budget to spend these funds.
I know for our just in the immediate future, having bike taillights and headlights would be very helpful and critical to the cycling training that we're doing to set people up with those lights who may not have them. And then looking at upcoming events like Norwalk Earth Day and Bike to Work Week, having, swag or um, just food and drinks or giveaways or opportunities to collaborate. And I know Becca had connected with the gentleman at Scoot the Block with some ideas, and then there was a local business quote that she was working on. Unfortunately, she's not here, but just to clarify too, Greg, we need quotes in order to approve this budget spend, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so yes, we have one more month until we need to.
I'm also looking at the two higher spend items, like for instance, the open streets and the speaker event. It doesn't look like there's gonna be an open street event between now and June 30th, correct? So I have a feeling that needs to be allocated elsewhere. And the same thing for a speaker event. I'm not sure if that's gonna be attainable between now and June 30th. So I want you guys to be able to spend the money, because if not, then it goes back to the city. So I'm just trying to make you all aware so we can all plan accordingly.
Right. Christine, go ahead.
Yeah, could I just get clarity on, so my training is up there, a couple things. It ended up being more than 4 hours because it was 4 hours of instruction, but it was like also 4 hours of planning. I also paid 2 students. And I'm not asking for more money. I just don't know if this is the time, like, if I could put that extra in there, and I'm not, again, I'll go with whatever we decide, but were we supposed to get a quote for other training for bike education here to get this approved? You said quote, so this is a line item here.
Right, but it's more of a minor cost. So that's fine.
Okay, you're talking about the big ones. And
Yeah,
then, and Emily, okay, and then I really would like to secure, like, I love the open streets event and to make that a big deal, so I would be willing to work on that and really kind of get maybe a venue and try to get this hammered down by June. Now that you made contact with Bob and Jim and I can assist with that, and that would be really awesome to have a citywide event and spend that money there. And also, there's something else I was gonna mention. I forgot, it'll come back to me. The other big expense here. Oh, the speaker. I have a speaker. I think, did I tell you about Letta Highsmith? Okay, I did. Okay, she's willing to do that, and thanks.
Yes, and I'm working on getting a quote from her as well. And I think I have a list of speakers that don't have any available quotes for tonight, unfortunately. But on that note, Christine, about open streets, I thought where we left off on this was, oh, it was maybe the venue, and using that calf pasture beach location. I thought we got not a green light to do that again this year. Is that correct? From Robert?
You said we got the green light? I didn't hear.
Sorry, we didn't, we got a red light, I guess, or we didn't, I thought it was not.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. You know what? I was confusing something. It's my mistake. The open street, yeah, no, right. So that money, no, I was thinking of the, the other streets, the complete streets.
Uh,
And can we add
oh,
that
the
in here
bike-
or swap it
So
out?
we could change it to like the bike walk roll event, the safe routes to school event, spending
Well,
money there instead of open streets.
I don't know if we can spend it by that time because I don't know when that is, but but you know what I'm talking about, the complete streets event that Bob and Jim were discussing as something to happen.
The
city.
Complete Streets
Yeah,
Symposium,
with
inviting other
50
cities.
exactly.
That could be, yeah, a good event to reallocate this to. What are thoughts from other commissioners on this? Because I know, yeah, but I don't think we've updated this since Christine reached out to Rob Showers, and we're not able to put together an open streets event like we did last year. So if other commissioners have input on where we can reallocate this money.
Yeah, it wasn't that we weren't allowed, it was just he thought it would be better to kind of fold into these other citywide, this complete streets project. Yeah. And
And
to,
Yeah, Emily, a couple months ago, I remember chatting with you about this, and you mentioned that you were in talks, or you were maybe wanting to begin talks with Sabrina from BizDev and Tourism about doing an event in the same vein, but instead of collaborating with parks, collaborating with her department. Did that go anywhere?
I never picked up where I left off talking to you about it, and thank you for reminding me, because it was the inspiration behind it was Sarah Roy had talked to me about Play Streets, and we were talking about all the open street events that Norwalk currently does through the Business and Tourism department, and Sabrina's team, who's amazing. Yeah, collaborating with them on something, larger scale like that. I think that's a great opportunity, and I'm happy to take that on hopefully by next month. So we can call it like a Norwalk open street event with. What's the official title? Sorry, Tanner, for the business and development. Is it B&D?
The BizDev and Tourism is the name of the department.
Okay.
But I don't know that it belongs on our budget because it would have to be spent by the end of June. And if we haven't even started talking with Sabrina about it, then I mean, I've been wrong before, but I don't know that it would happen by the end of June.
I mean, we could spend the budget before the event itself, right? And in
It
that way,
depends on what we're spending it on, right? Like most in the
Right.
past, most of our expenditures have been for police enforcement, which gets spent during the event.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Oh, thank you for joining. I see Manny. Manny, we're talking about our budget spend and quotes, and pressures on to get some estimates here. But I know earlier, Manny, we talked about a complete street symposium, and Christine has sent over some speaker opportunities, and I'm working on getting estimates from a few people for speaking events, but looking to allocate some of the spending. I know we talked about the open streets event and finding a way to continue that effort. I don't know if you have any input or if any other commissioners have input on, yeah. Oh, go ahead, Christine.
Oh, so not on that topic, but on the budget topic is that now that Julia's an educator and we're looking at maybe more classes, there's more educational materials we can order from the League of American Bicyclists. That would be to add an item. Educational materials, LCI, smart cycling. It would go under smart cycling.
Okay. Christine, is there any opportunity that you could take on getting a quote for this?
Yeah, sure. I definitely will. I'll get it next meeting.
Okay.
I mean,
I think that
Yeah.
may be helpful too, just to hold accountability, because I know this is critical to us getting this done. So
so it would be the exact amount. I wouldn't be getting different quotes on this because it's official
Mhm.
material. Right, Greg? That's fine, right? I don't need three quotes.
So it depends on how much the spend is.
It's not gonna be that much. Maybe 500, I'm thinking maybe.
Okay, so yeah, so
Or 200. I don't know. I really don't know. How much should I keep it under? Let's look, tell me.
anything over 1,000, we need 2 quotes.
Oh, no. It won't be that.
But even under 1,000, our purchasing department still would like to see 2 if we're able to get 2 quotes.
I
Um,
think her point though is that these are materials that are available from exactly one source, and that's the League.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's just you can present it with just one, and then we can sole source it and just say it's come from one. So that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
would any commissioners be willing to take on getting quotes for swag for Norwalk Bike Walk, including water bottles, drawstring bags, t-shirts?
In the past, you've handled that, haven't you, Emily? Don't you have contacts at, say, Minuteman,
This is
et
true.
cetera?
I'm trying to delegate, but I will take
take
that on.
it.
Manny, okay, thank you, Manny. I will set you up, yeah, for success there. Thank you.
Now, I want to
Oh,
get something clarified just because earlier you asked Greg that we need to get the money approved, or rather, we need quotes in order to get the money approved. But I think there's precedent for us approving amount of money and then just purchasing our items or doing spend based on that amount of money being approved and knowing that we can't go over that. Can you confirm that, Greg?
Well, it's the commission voting that that's what to buy. So that whatever the spend is, the commission has to be aligned with it. That's why I was saying, has this list been vetted, and are all the commissioners agreed upon that this is the amount we're spending? So if you want to buy, for instance, bike taillights for $750, is the commission all go on that to buy 75 water bottles for $750?
But say we
I
want
think in
to go about it the route of however many taillights we can get with $750, and we all agree that that's what we want to do. Is that okay?
And then from there, we'll need the quotes from there.
Right. We'd still need the quotes, obviously, but is that still following our due process? The way
Yeah,
I'm suggesting?
no, that is, as long as the commission is agreed upon. That's why I said, you have a month to kind of make sure this is what we're spending our money on. Because the commission needs to approve it, and with, at least 4 commissioners need to say yes, that this is what we're spending our money on.
All right. Thanks for the clarification.
Did we do that already? I feel like we did that. Did we vote? Because if we didn't, we should just do it tonight, so we don't have to wait one more month and delay all this, right? Well, I
Yeah,
thought
I'm
we
happy to make a
Right.
motion to spend the indicated amount of money on headlights and taillights. I think the only reason we would wait to make that vote is to know whether we actually want to spend more on that.
But do we vote on every item, or do we vote on the whole budget here that's outlined?
I
Wouldn't
think
that
either way
make-
works.
Yeah,
We've been
Mm,
holding
it-
off
it-
on some of these swag items just because we don't know the inventory in the closet. But if we're more interested in just spending the amount of money that we have to ensure it gets spent, then maybe we just do that.
I agree. And I think especially with our upcoming events this month, having taillights and headlights would be really nice to have. And I know we still, to your point, Nick, have materials in the closet at Yankee Doodle Garage, including, locks and t-shirts and some swag items we can give out. So knowing what we have, and then also a priority being, spending these grant item pieces as well as part of our bike safety courses, which are also happening in April. So I absolutely agree. And Greg, if this is how we can, vote to approve some of these items, Christine, to your point, I don't think we're ready to approve every item on this list, but things like the tail lights, the speaker, or I'm sorry, the bike to work week food and drinks, and maybe, adding another $100 there for the local business and things like that. I would be open to entertaining a motion to approve on some of these items. If
Yeah, no, I think that's the best route. So this way we can use April to just get quotes and get this process rolling on some of these items and see if we could spend, 2-3 grand and knock off what we need to. And then in the meantime, figure out the speaker event and then the open streets and that remaining $1,500 and how we're gonna spend it.
Okay.
Just quick question. We've talked about having a tent and tablecloth. Do we have that or what happened to
We
that? I
have
thought we wanted.
have it. We have a tablecloth and we've had a volunteer donate a tent when
Oh,
needed.
okay. Oh, great.
So I don't know if that's a priority. It's the transportation, which is the hard part, and the storing
I know.
of those items,
I
but
know.
it's definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe in future. If we need to spend money, I mean, not that we're desperate, but it's a good idea, Christine. One idea I had though, just knowing that we have these upcoming events and the bike safety training, I thought maybe we can increase the number of taillights and headlights to 100 because Manny, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we used up the last of the headlights and taillights at our filling in the blanks event. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's right. But I do want to go to Yankee Doodle Garage earlier, like later this week, to be able to just double check that that's correct. But I know I did take locks and bike lights, and we did give them away that one time.
Okay.
Can I say something? I know I've said this every time and I'm gonna say it again, okay? So a red reflector is the law and a white reflector is the law. Okay? The tail lights and the headlights are more sophisticated for cyclists going out at night. And I'm not saying, I've said it before that we shouldn't be encouraging people. We have a large number of youth out there that could really benefit from reflectors and useful things. They love the drawstring bags and they love the water. They need water bottles. And those are things that we really can give away for the next 5 years and never have enough of, frankly, at these events. But to me, spending a lot of money on a bike that you need a battery or you need a USB, it's just more sophisticated. And I don't think spending that much on them is worth our money. That's my opinion. I think that's the last time I'm going to speak on this.
That's okay. Thank you, Christine. I know you've mentioned that before. And is it the amount of money or the quantity that's the problem you
I
see
think
here?
it's the quantity.
Okay. Tanner, go ahead.
I wanted to give a counterpoint to that. I think that the headlights and the taillights, out of all the things that we give out, are the most impactful and the most practical. Yes, they require a little bit more user interaction than a reflector, but they're also way more effective than a reflector. I think what I like about headlights and taillights is that they are good both for safety and for the promoting of people using their bikes. People, I think if you're just riding for recreation, you can go when you're outside, or you can go outside when it's light. But if you're actually using your bike for transportation, like, people need to go places after dark, and we want people. I want people to see their bicycle as a tool for getting around, and in order for them to take it seriously as a tool for getting around, they need to be able to rely on it regardless of whether it's light or dark outside. And I don't think that even personally, and you all know that I have a pretty high tolerance for risk. I don't ride outside without headlights and taillights because it makes a huge difference in how safe you are and how comfortable I feel on the road. So I think that we should prioritize headlights and taillights. I think it's a great use of our money, especially if we can remember when we give them out to to try and give them out primarily to people who we have reason to believe are riding their bike or would ride their bike. Obviously not to just anybody, but that's a conversation for later.
Well, that makes
Thank you,
sense,
Tanner.
Tanner, is adults who are going to work or needed at night. Yeah, not children.
Well, I think that those
Thank you.
things aren't mutually exclusive. Kids could be using these too. Kids also need to get places.
Hopefully not at night.
Quick point here. So I agree with what Tanner's saying, and from what I've seen in my own experience biking around Norwalk, as well as going to the bike walk roll to school event with Jalea, a lot of the kids did not have any lights on their bikes. Not to say that we're promoting biking at night, it's the safety of if and when they bike at night. But also just in my experience biking around South Norwalk, I do notice majority of the cyclists that I pass do not have headlights or taillights. And it would be really nice to have just those on hand to hand out to cyclists and, have that opportunity to educate and provide that opportunity for them to have lights at all. So I'm in agreement with spending money on headlights and taillights, and especially as we do these cycling courses and we get beginner novice cyclists coming to us and learning how to bike or improving their bike education, having the lights to hand out is a really good asset, in my opinion. But I'm looking to the commissioners to decide how many headlights and taillights that we buy. I suggest 100, but I'm open to hearing
I
other
think that we
suggestions.
shouldn't go about it as a quantity. We should go about it as a dollar amount, kind of like what I was saying earlier. Just if we want to allocate $1,000 to taillights and $1,000 headlights, whatever amount of headlights and taillights that gets us is what it gets us.
Yeah, agree with Nick. It looks like, based on my reading of the spreadsheet, that currently we have 1,000 allocated for headlights, 1,000 for taillights, and then we have 570 left over. I would make a motion that we allocate 2,570, which is to say the leftover plus the already allocated amount, that we allocate that much money to buying an equal number of headlights and taillights, given that the unit cost is reasonable. And I would define that as no more than $25 for a pair, a headlight and a taillight.
I'm just, okay, I'm gonna just push back on one other thing. We just keep in mind, so Julia's now has her certificate. So we have to remember that that can be an item in here too, is for classes that she's going to run and possibly with myself, so co-taught. So that's something in the future too, so. Like maybe we can put together a proposal for next meeting on more education classes. And Julia's has her hand.
Yeah, so Christine, because I work for the city, I believe I would just be under city time, like working hours when I run LCI classes, unless I do it obviously on my total own time. But if it's related to the commission and the city, then I would just clock in for work. So that wouldn't be an extra expense.
Also, Christine, just a friendly reminder that we do have 2 bike safety education courses happening this month at CT State, and Julia will be participating with Chaz Foster. And that's why I added, and thank you for bringing it up, the bike safety courses. There's a chance that there may be a charge to use the parking lot space. I haven't heard back officially if that's the case or not. There's a chance it gets waived, but to your point, anticipating space costs, things like that for future bike safety courses. I don't know if we can do that before June, but at our next meeting, if we can come up with an estimate, I would appreciate that too. Is that something that you would be open to working on?
I'm not sure what you're asking me exactly.
Like spaces to host bike safety courses? Is that what you were saying?
Well,
a
no, I
spend-
mean, public parking lots, city parking lots are free, so the state of I'm sure that parking lot is free. The CT State, I can't imagine a charge there. And the league, so I don't know, I can't speak to the health department, but the league, as an instructor, the insurance falls under that as an instructor. It's automatic insurance for an instructor. So I can't imagine
Well,
that
then-
Yeah, I think there's
Now-
public parking spots. I mean, there's many public parking lots. Like when I held the course, it was at the city hall parking lot. I didn't need to ask anybody, you know, for like, if we'd have to pay somebody, because it's a public lot. That's how the league defines it when they talk about this.
Okay. In an effort to honor all our time, is there any items here? I know, Tanner, you made a suggestion and I couldn't do the math that fast, so I don't know exactly what you want for these numbers, but are there any items here that we would be willing to vote on and approve tonight?
Yeah, I made a motion. I can summarize the motion. It was to allocate $2,000 plus the 570 that is in that last row. So a total of 2570, and allocate that to equal numbers of headlights and taillights. So maybe you want to represent that as one light item instead of two. The reason I'm doing that is because the unit cost for taillights might be different than the unit cost for headlights.
Mhm.
And I don't think we want to buy different numbers. We want to buy the same number of headlights and taillights. So if I would move to allocate 2570 to sets of headlights and taillights. And we can guess at the unit cost, but ultimately, like Nick pointed out, that'll come down to the different quotes that we find.
Okay. Would any commissioners vote to approve that? Support that?
I'll second.
Thank you, Nick. All in favor? Great. Is so approved. Okay, so 2570 on headlights and taillights. Is there a commissioner that can own getting those quotes? That is open to getting those quotes?
I will do it.
I will. Thank you, Tanner. Okay, perfect. I did, oh, and thank you, Christine, for the connection. I spoke with Alex about the bike mechanic training. He said that he can do private or group. I don't know if that's something we can vote on tonight, but it is very interesting and he is open to doing that or working with the commission to do something like that. The other item that I would like to entertain a motion to approve is for food and drink, and this is specific to local businesses. So I believe Becca left me a note on the business that she is working on getting a quote from. It's called Black by Demand, and it's a coffee shop. So I will put that in here. Are we open to spending bike to work week food and drink spend for?
Yeah, how's
Oh,
it?
I'm
how's
sorry.
Emily, how's the bike to work week running? I mean, because if we're not gonna talk about, are we talking about the next meeting or?
I have it as an item on the agenda to talk more about, and I was hoping Becca would be here because we've been coordinating efforts with CT Rides and Mike Pence from Norwalk Transit District. But yeah, it's going to be a collaborative effort this year.
I just think that, I think we could spend more on that and maybe give away some of this other things like that. Like that would be an opportunity to give away the lights, right? With these commuters.
Exactly, yep. And so I would love to have these ordered, but separately, this item is just for food from a local business, food and drink. If that makes sense.
Yeah, now it does.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. I'm leaving this to Becca, and I know she's not available, but she has
Okay, so
told
let's
me
vote
she's
on it.
working on this.
I
Okay.
make the motion. $200
Thank you, Christine.
allocated for food and drink for bike to work week.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Manny. Thank you, Tanner. All in favor? Okay. On a roll. Thank you, team. Open streets we will work on. Speaker event we will work on. For now, this is a really great start. Thank you, everyone.
Can you consider upping the fee for the training here? This is my last opportunity, I guess, to ask for this. For an additional 4 hours for the preparation.
Oh, okay. So I guess I need to understand how this works. So if we already voted to approve this number
Oh,
and you're
okay,
asking to
revoted,
increase it,
uh-huh.
yeah, well, I just want to understand how it works. Is that how it
Well, no,
works?
we
Well,
may
has
not,
Christine been paid yet?
no,
I don't think so.
We
but
could
maybe,
also approach it as just a separate line item. Like we approved one line item for 4 hours and now we're approving a different line item for another 4 hours.
is that okay, Greg? Is Greg still on? Yeah, Greg is here.
Fair. So say it again. So you're looking to set like an hourly rate?
No, so there was an additional, so I estimated 4 hours, but I forgot about all the preparation that it took. I also had 2 volunteers who I paid for their time, children, teenagers. So yeah, like to add an additional 4 hours for this.
So you're, to be clear, Christine, you're asking for us to authorize money to pay you for stuff that you already did.
Well,
Or strictly that your
exactly,
other people
exactly.
did.
So I don't know if that's something we can do. Or just in hindsight that now I know next time.
So are you looking more or less to be reimbursed? Is that
Yeah,
okay? Okay. Do you have like any receipts or anything that you can provide?
so okay, so I didn't buy anything. Well, I made copies, but I'm not gonna charge for that, but my time, how I will bill for my time.
Yeah, I think what's going on here is that Christine offered to do this service and said that it was going to be this many hours, and then after the fact, it turns out that she spent more hours doing it than initially advertised. So
But
I think as a commission, go ahead, Christine.
Yeah, no, Greg is questioning in general because he and I, we emailed this week about this. So I think there's probably a W-9 form that has to be complete.
Well, I'm just wondering from a purchasing perspective, how do we show, the time and the money that you spend and are to be paid? That's,
Well, I would submit an invoice to the city, to you.
would create an invoice. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
But I don't want to add something here. Yeah, so, but Greg, this has been voted on, so to
No,
add,
I'm not, I just wasn't sure about,
I know, but I'm asking you, because you're kind of the official here to weigh in on this. Is that something can be done or no? I'm fine with no, but if it can be done, then I'd like to add the 4 hours it took for
if you
preparation.
together an invoice and make it look as official as can be, then we've never had to do it before, so this is new. But we'll try to get it done.
I think we're talking about 2 different
It's-
things, but that's okay.
And Christine, too, I know you said you paid the students, if there were like receipts on that and pieces that could provide that clarity to the purchasing department on where the money was spent, including your hourly rate, like you were saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I might just take that cost. That was my own idea to pay those kids. That was not part of what I proposed here, so that's my cost.
Christine, I understand exactly what you're saying. I'm just saying from a purchasing perspective, I just need to relay to the purchasing department the money that you spent or
No,
the money for your
I
time.
understand. The question here is tonight.
Yeah.
Since the 4 hours were approved, is it okay to add an additional 4 hours to vote on that,
Yeah.
that it's passed?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I don't think that's a question for Greg. I think that's a question for the commission.
Okay,
That's for the commission, not for me. You guys vote on what you want.
For my part, I think that it's a small enough amount of money, and I think that we value Christine and her work, and so I have no problem with paying her. But I do think that we should also set a precedent that if we're going to pay somebody for their work, they should represent the work that they're going to do correctly ahead of time.
exactly. And then the other thing is going back to Julia and the class with the CT State, the materials that I mentioned here, the educational materials from the league. And would that be donated then to the health department, or would those classes have to go under the commission using those materials? How would that work? You know what I mean,
So,
Emily?
Chaz Foster is the one that's running that class. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, okay, in
Yeah.
the future, I'd like these to be part of the commission's classes then maybe. Does that make sense, Emily? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Not quite, but I know we need to move on to our next agenda item, but maybe we
Okay.
can talk about this offline if you're open to that.
Or next month?
Or next month, exactly.
Well, can
Thank you.
we finish the thread that we were in the middle of? The commission needs to
Yes.
decide whether we're going to allocate another $140 to pay Christine for this extra time. Well, I mean, if we punt now, I suppose we could decide next month, because there's no. I guess that's kind of a question for Greg. Greg, you were saying that as a rule, you don't want to vote on any other budget items after this meeting or after next meeting.
No, I'm just saying to spend money and make sure we're clear that we're, by next meeting, we have, this way it gives you a month to get everything ordered ahead of June 30th. So
Yeah, but for expenditures that don't
vote on
involve
it
orders.
if you want, but if you all are comfortable voting on it now, then let's vote it now.
Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Yeah,
I will move.
I'll
Go ahead, Nick.
make a motion to allot $140 for the extra time for Christine's League Certified Instructor training setup.
I will second with the caveat that next time, Christine, I think it would be fair to
Yeah,
everybody to
I think
represent
I got it,
everything at a
Tanner.
time.
I
Okay.
think you understood me say that I didn't anticipate that, so. I understand.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, so approved. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to our next agenda item here. Mm. Okay. Next up is bike safety training and education update. So we've touched on this a little bit already, but we have 2 courses planned for this month, and I'm so excited to have Chaz Foster from Sound Cyclists leading these courses. I wanted to quickly share these descriptions. Julia, thank you for participating in these as well. We've been working closely with CT State College Norwalk on these events, and I am pulling up Eventbrite very, very quickly. We have publicity scheduled to start soon. The first class is going to be on April 15th at 6 p.m. and the other one will be on the 22nd at 5:30 p.m. We are almost there. Okay, here we go. So the first one we have here, and these are events leading up to our Earth Day event on the Norwalk Green, because we are planning a bike ride with Sound Cyclists as well. And I'm so happy. I think I saw earlier Brian Boland had joined us. He will be leading one of the rides along with Bill Kaia. But Chaz Foster is generous enough to donate his time here to doing an intro to safe and smart cycling at the university. So, excuse me, the college. Tuesday, April 15th from 6:30 to 8:30. I will share these with our commission and we will start circulating these. I need to connect with Chaz Foster and we'll have, hopefully, Julia, if you are available to join on those days for these bike safety training classes. They'll be family oriented. We're encouraging the students first and foremost to attend. So it'll be very similar to what you've done with Julia, Christine, but we're excited to kick these off and hopefully continue doing them collaboratively with different organizations around Norwalk. And then the second part to the event, so we have the intro to safe cycling. The second part to it will be the outdoor skills workshop, where it will be in the parking lot. And this one will be more limited. So we're opening this up to 25 individuals. And sorry, I did feature, I hope that's okay, Julie and Christine, a picture of us on our bike ride from the last cycling skills workshop. This would strictly be in the parking lot at CT State, but we're offering these courses free to students, to families, to Norwalk residents, or anyone interested in learning more about riding, especially on streets, and handling, bikes and real world situations, and leading up to, again, the Norwalk Earth Day celebration. So if you have any questions or want to get involved or want to help promote, please reach out to me and I will work with you on that. Any questions from commissioners about the bike safety courses? Okay, great. Next on our agenda is the Norwalk Earth Day events, walk, rides, and bike valet. Quickly, so Norwalk Earth Day is happening on April 26th from 11 to 3. We're so excited. We have 2 walks and these bike rides scheduled. One of the walks will be led by our own Julia Green from the Norwalk City Hall, collaboratively with Nancy Rosette from NRVT and Diane Gellerette from the Historical Society. And they'll be taking a walk around the historic Harbor Loop Trail area, Mill Hill, and Julia will talk about hopefully the Norwalker program and safe routes around there. And then second walk we have is with Jim Travers from TMP, and he will be collaborating with Jalen Seed and Mark Allen from Underground Factory. And that those events are also posted and we will start promoting them. And then, like I mentioned before, we have the Sound Cyclist Riders coordinating efforts for bike rides. We're doing a family-friendly bike ride from a local elementary school to the green, and then we'll have an advanced ride led by Phil and Brian for riders to end up at the green. And that leads me to pass off to Nick Pappas, who will be running the Bike Valet program. Nick, do you have any updates on that for us?
No, I've just been trying to get people to volunteer and help out with the valet that day. Now that it is the month of the event, I'd like to get commitment from commissioners to actually help at the event. So Becca's already mentioned to me that she is willing to help as a commissioner. Can I have some other commissioners that will be around to help? Thank you, Manny.
I will be there, but I will be staffing the Sustainable Streets table, so I can't commit to do the bike valet. But I will come by and I'll use the bike valet.
If it's 3 commissioners, then I'll just allocate our time accordingly.
Yes,
And
sorry, Nick, I may have a potential conflict, but if I don't, I'll help.
all right, I appreciate it, Christine. I also sent out a kind of how-to guide for the bike valet program, if you will. If anyone has read that, does anyone here have any questions on like what the bike valet would be comprised of, or any questions on what I wrote there that maybe I could have been clearer on?
Well, Nick, who's helping, like, oh, sorry, Emily. Go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you for taking the time to put that all together, Nick. I thought it looked great, and I did see some responses come into the Norwalk Bike Walk Commission email with volunteers willing to help out. So I'm really excited to see that come to life, and thank you and the other commissioners for your time allocated to this event. I'm unfortunately out of town, so I won't be there, but thank you for taking the reins. Christine, go ahead.
No, I just know it's physically it's demanding to get those in and out of the truck and everything. I don't know who's helping you with that part.
That's
I mean,
something I haven't figured out yet.
I have a CRV. I just need to make sure my childcare situation in the morning's fine. And I can help transport things and that sort of thing. So I can make myself available for any transporting or tear down.
Awesome.
And
Thank you.
Nick, Likewise, I can help at the beginning and end to set up and tear down. I just can't help staff the thing during the event.
Okay, that's good to know. Thanks.
Nick, when I was at the Yankee Doodle Garage, they got me into the closet space. I don't know what they call storage rooms, and there was a truck there that. And is the city helping with Earth Day? Like, is that something that they can bring over? Because they have that truck there, that pickup truck that he drives around the parking lot. It's like traffic enforcement, I guess.
I wouldn't know how to arrange that. I mean, it's on a weekend, so that's something that'd be outside of normal working hours, and I'm sure you could arrange that, but I wouldn't know how to begin with that.
So Christine, that truck that's there, that's for the North Parking Authority.
Okay.
I would be, and as Nick said, it's on the weekend, so we don't have the staffing, and North Parking Authority is kind of its own entity as well.
Yeah. Is anybody city entity helping with the Earth Day, like Public Works or anything? Or park?
No,
No?
I'm not sure.
I think
haven't-
Sabrina's department is quite involved.
Yes,
Devon Tourism, but
Visit Norwalk. It's the Norwalk Green Association that's hosting it. It's Tracy who joined our last call. Not, oh gosh, what's her, and Brad Craighead,
Craighead.
Tracy and Brad. Yes, thank you.
yeah, they're not
Um,
part of city government though.
But the city
No, they're not,
government,
but they're collaborating with
They-
Sabrina Gadesky in the Business and Tourism Department.
I could have sworn that they had city government trucks there with taking cones out for that event.
So wait, is Manny's CRV not sufficient?
Oh, I'm just talking about in general in the future for using the valet and stuff, but it's just if it's something that they would do, we could postpone this talk for the future, maybe.
And thank you, Manny, for offering your mode of transportation. Okay. Any other questions about Norwalk Earth Day events, walks, rides, or bike ballet? Because it will happen before our next meeting, so it'll come by quickly.
Just one quick thing, maybe we have a flyer for the Bike to Work Week that we can put out at Earth Day at our table.
I'm so glad you brought that up because that is our next agenda item is bike to work week. But I think that's a great idea. I don't know if you are willing to, or oh, you said you have a conflict, Christine, is that right?
Well, I don't have the details on Bike to Work Week, but I can certainly have a flyer made up once I get it.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
before we move on to Bike to Work Week, I wanted to ensure that we have some promotion plan in place for people to know that there's a bike ballet program at Earth Day. Is there one in place?
Thank you, Nick. That's a really good point. And I almost forgot, I didn't forget, Manny made us a beautiful bike valet video. So how to use it and a quick download. I think I forwarded it to you. And Manny, I understand it's a draft. So if we do have any edits, it's perfect to promote and educate and spread awareness about this service that we're offering, especially as we're promoting walks and rides to the event. This will be a great opportunity for us to use that. So thank you, Nick. Yes, we'll keep doing that and start promoting through our channels, and we'll share with the other organizations that are partnering for the Earth Day event to circulate in their networks as well.
On that note, would anybody want to lend their voice to voice the voiceover bit of the bike ballet video? Just let me know offline.
Ooh, can I make one other request too? Can we have an English and Spanish version?
Oh yeah, we can do that.
That would be awesome.
I volunteer for English, but not Spanish.
Great.
I volunteer for Spanish, but someone needs to write it out for me. But that, I don't know if that's the best idea, but thank you, Manny, and thank you, Tanner, for offering. That would be great. Okay. Anything else on Earth Day? Thank you, Nick, for chiming in. Okay. Bike to Work Week. Again, I know I've delegated this to Becca, who's been taking the lead and making good progress. I mentioned she's connected with the local business, Black by Demand. She is looking for an estimate of numbers from us to provide a precise quote. She also connected with a person from Scoot the Block. And part of me is a little hesitant, not to say it's a bad thing, but it looks like there's conversations, and I would prefer her speak to this opportunity, but she did leave me an email about the Scoot to Block. Is everyone aware of the Scoot the Block scooters that are around Norwalk? There's a gentleman, Jamar McPherson, who is the owner of Scoot the Block, and he was interested in producing discount codes for dollars during that week. He would be willing to advertise the Bike to Work week on his social media. The discount would give each rider $10 to ride, something like that. So she's made the connection. I would love for her, I don't know if there's enough time before next meeting, if there is an opportunity to collaborate there, but I thought that was a good scoot in the right direction, if you will. And
Yeah, I
then
just plus one to that. I do think that that's a great partnership there.
one hesitation I have, and it's more a question for Greg, is like liability and insurance. I don't know how official they are with the city of Norwalk. I don't know if we can be promoting that as a means of transportation and have to worry about any legalities, but that was my only hesitation there.
Yeah,
I mean, we could give out coupons for a bike shop, right? Even though there's liability in people getting on a bike, I don't think that there's any issue with giving out coupons to a bike shop. I think this is analogous to that.
I don't know if I agree with that, but go ahead, Greg. You were going to say something.
no, I was just gonna say, I know you're promoting something that's a better question for the legal team and also for the insurance manager of the city as well, just to see where that would end, where that would stand. Whether we would need more information on it, just to see if it would conflict with anything and if there would be any liability against the city.
Okay, perfect. I don't think it's a reason to not pursue it, Tanner. I just wanted to be super careful.
Okay.
So if you want to work with Becca on that, that would be amazing if you have the bandwidth. Additionally, for Bike to Work Week, we've been in conversation with Sarah Roy at CT Rides, who joined us last year for Bike to Work Week to hand out materials and encourage, public transit users in addition to pedestrians and cyclists on the benefits of commuting. And then we have also been in conversation with Matt Pence from the Norwalk Transit District, and he is also open to collaborating with us and maybe doing something outside the Wheels Hub and the train stations, or South Norwalk train station specifically. So if anyone is interested in collaborating and working on Bike to Work Week efforts, please reach out to Becca directly. Any questions there? Okay, we are almost in line. Our next item here is Filling in the Blanks event. Manny, would you like to update us on the next event?
Sure, this Saturday we'll be returning to fill in the blanks in order to pass out literature and just connect with people who utilize their services and who are there as participants. And so, the goal that I had last month when we did the second one, or when I went through the second one, was basically just making people aware that we're there, and making people aware that we're here to listen to them and get feedback about anything related to biking and walking in their neighborhoods. And so I'm excited to go back and just connect with people in the community in a different part that we might not typically get a chance to rub shoulders with in our other events. So I think it's been really great, actually.
Thank you so much, Manny. And the next event you mentioned is this Saturday at 8 a.m.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead,
And-
Christine.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
Yeah, what's the address exactly?
I'll forward it to you via email, because I let me do that now, actually.
Okay, and then are you bringing things from the storage?
I
that
still
is
have
in the
some stuff.
storage? There's
still have
stuff
some-
in storage, the locks are in there and stuff. There's a lot of locks I saw in the storage.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll pick those up then. I'll coordinate with Greg this week to see if I can get in there and then go from there.
Okay, I'll try to be there. I'll let you know though, definitely
Okay.
tomorrow.
I'll send the address via email.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Manny. Thank you, Christine. Last item on our discussion here is the NOR Walk for Mental Health Walk and Wellness Fair. Christine, this was something you had forwarded over to me. Do you want to speak to this?
Sorry, not really. No, I just, we have enough going on here. It sounds like, I don't know. If anybody was gonna I'm not taking this on.
Okay. Is this something, Julia, that you're aware of, or let me see if I can pull up the email from Christine.
This
here.
was
Yeah.
this was a conflict. Let Julia talk, but this was a conflict. Last time we had our open streets the same time they were having their event. So Margaret Watt is a friend of mine.
Yeah, so Margaret's running this. She's from Positive Directions. We are attending. Well, I personally don't think I'm attending, but my colleague is to represent the health department. It is a good opportunity to connect with a lot of community members because a lot of people do attend this event, of all ages. So it may be a good opportunity to reach people if you guys are interested. We will be there. The health department will be there.
Okay, NOR Walk for Mental Health Walk and Wellness Fair, and it looks like it'll be on Saturday, May 3rd. Rain date is the 17th. And we do have to sign up to table/activity. Yeah, I mean, with this notice, I wonder if it's a good opportunity to evaluate for our commission next year, unless there's a commissioner that would be willing to take this on at this time.
From what time to what time is it?
That is a great question. I do not, oh, this, here we go, 1 second. It looks like it is Saturday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And it is it looks like it's on the Norwalk Green. Yeah, the town green. So it's the week after Earth Day, potentially, the following Saturday. If a commissioner does decide, please let me know, but no pressure. But thank you for bringing this up, Christine. I think it's good to be aware of it and then maybe plan to be a part of this next year. Okay. With that, that is all of our agenda items. And now we may have a quorum quickly if we, Manny, you were at our last meeting, correct? Did you have a chance to review the minutes from March?
I can review them very quick.
No pressure. I can bump that to our next meeting. I think that's not an issue, correct, Greg?
No, you could table it for our next meeting. We'll just
Okay,
have minutes from
I'll
both.
plan on. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I will do that. Other than that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Thank you, Tanner. I see Christine seconded. All in favor? Perfect. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Dylene. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a great night.
Thank you.